So lots of people love Bear Bright. Who doesn't? It's shiny, it's bright, it's generally the highest price that you get at the scrapyard. But when you're spending your time sorting and separating it, what is the thinnest gauge that could or should be considered Bear Bright? Now in my hand I have a couple of pieces of Romex, and generally I consider the thinnest gauge a 12 or a 14 gauge, and that's the piece of wire or the ground that comes out of the Romex, or if you strip this jacket off of this piece of THHN that you would have inside there. So if you saw this piece and this came to my yard and it was all, you know, kind of bundled up here, I'd have no issue with this. What I would have an issue with is a piece like this. This is something to me that's called hair wire. If you look at the pieces of it, they're very thin, and you could almost snap them just by kind of breaking them like that, you see? I could pull it right apart. Now what I've learned is that when hair wire goes to different foundries, it can burn so quickly that, believe it or not, this copper can almost become a gas and float up into the filters. Now some of these different processing facilities do have the ability to catch the copper, but they like having something that's more like a 12 or a 14 gauge because it's going to have a higher heating point because there's more material. So when it does start to melt, like we've shown in different kiln videos, it's going to go down and clean itself into the pot, opposed to going up into the into the air and into the exhaust. So when you have Romex or you're trying to get Bear Bright, you look at a piece of Bear Bright like this, each individual piece is very similar to the Romex. There's just more of these that are put together because of the level of power that was going through this. So when you're stripping wire and you want to know what Bear Bright is, never put this with this, because you might have your entire pile downgraded. Just look at the size comparison of one single piece versus another one, right? Very, very small. So even though it's heavy, even though it's bright, even though it's shiny, that does not make this Bear Bright, but this piece would. So let us know any other questions you have, because if you don't know what a material is or how it's going to be qualified or kind of labeled, that's why we're here. So ask us any questions below.